It always comes to this. More nice shit. Hey guys, back into another tattoo progress update today. Where I last left off, I showed off all the red that Rick and I had added over here, and as you can see, it's mostly peeled now, and it joins in pretty well to the underarm. It's if anything going to be a couple shades brighter than the underarm. That's not to say that the underarm isn't sufficiently red. It is quite red. It's just that, as suspected, with all this dark red settled in for quite a while, as the same happened with the eye here on my shoulder here, coming in later with brighter reds and blacks, it just comes and takes over. So what I found to be particularly helpful for getting bright reds over black, or bright colors in general even, but we've done this most predominantly with in cases of red on black, is if you come in and you lighten it up with a first coat or a second coat of red, and particularly dark red, and then come back later down the road with a bright red, you do get this more striking result. Now, some of this is still flaking. You can see where some of the scab, not scab, but the old skin is still shedding off, and it's been 3 days, so that's a pretty typical heal for me, but pretty quick. No real pain, of course, while healing. I tend to not feel much pain after the first 2 or 3 hours. It seems like after I take a nice hot shower, most of the pain goes away after the shower's over, so after that there's just a little bit of sensitivity. With that said, I'll jump right into what Terry and I did here. Obviously, it's the elephant in the room. It's staring at us. The very, very bright, almost fluorescent or neon glowing roses on particularly on my head. Those are something. So obviously we also did the roses on my cheekbones here, and I'm gonna get into the backstory of all of this. We did Jeff Gogue's True Purple, I think, is what I always forget the purple that we used in the roses, but I think that's the one. I always think it's Pretty Purple, but I think it's actually True Purple, or whatever the fuck it's called. Jeff Gogue's True Purple by Fusion. All the color ink we use is Fusion. And again, we use the big favorite on the channel and just in my social media in general is the turquoise. We use turquoise Fusion, and it's lightened with a bit of white. That to get this color. This will settle out more to this. However, it might stay a little bluer, which would be fine with me. And that's used in the leaves. And then to get this warmer red, where this is more of a pinky red that we've done, this nebula red, which is a very nice bright red. You also have the option, or there's several other options really, but if you want a warmer red with more of an orange tone, we've used Really Red for this, and they all heal up really nice. And we wanted the red to be the darkest point of these roses, so the red is used over the black, and same is true on the head roses. All of the red that we used covered the black, and the white and some of the purple. Some of the purple covers black, and some of the purple covers white. So you get kind of a gradient with the purple. Of dark to light purple, and then it transitions from the red into the purple into the blue. There was quite a bit of room to do that with the ones on the side of my head, and not nearly as much room to do that with the ones on my face. Obviously, they're a tighter cluster, and so there's not as much room for that. But Terry was able to achieve some form of that, and I kind of, like, he was on the fence. Like, he wanted to kind of do them like, his first idea was, oh, well, why don't we do them like the green leaves, like the turquoise leaves. But I think just having a big flat chunk of green, especially in the roses, in the middle of my face is that's a lot. and that's crazy coming from me. But I just think that these things work better, especially since we already have a very consistent theme of the roses, the color palette that we're using for them. I think it's important that we keep that going in some capacity. So the obvious decision to me was to get some version of that here. And there probably realistically still is mostly turquoise in there anyway, because the greatest parts of the color are made up with the turquoise and the leaves on either rose. So, but yeah, I mean, for me, as soon as I seen it, like, and then we knew what it would look like going in. Like, there was no like, oh, I wonder how that's gonna look. We had a pretty good idea of what was gonna happen, and like, being that these roses were not done over black, they were done over red. But I'll get into that. That's a whole other thing. I had the idea that these ones might end up being brighter than the ones on my face initially, or neck. The neck ones are still fairly bright, and then again, the arms they're not bad either. The one on my bicep is the worst, I would say, but that's not really that surprising because that's one of the only spots on my arm that I have much of any scarring, and it's all through here. So scarring is harder to color, and that's where, for the people who are continually coughing up things like, oh, dude, how much, you must have so much scar tissue, or not even, they don't even say it like that. They go, you have so much scar tissue as a baseline. Let me just tell you, it's hard to color scar tissue. It's hard. It's not impossible, but it's hard. It doesn't take smooth, and it doesn't take well. And so if I was all scar tissue, I can pretty much assure you that almost none of this would be possible. So not that it really matters, but a lot of people have totally got the wrong idea. You can fuck someone up in a single session or never in thousands. That's all on technique and how well someone heals. So, yeah. And I've already shown that on this channel, so there's no need for me to beat a dead horse. But this is not my opinion. This is a reality, and this is fact. It's not up to debate. As long as you're tattooing someone correctly, you shouldn't be causing them really any scar tissue. And I don't think I've ever gotten any scar tissue working with Rick, ever. Not even once. And I think Terry has given me maybe a little bit, but almost none. So as long as you're healing really, really quickly and smoothly, you shouldn't be taking much scarring. So with that said, I mentioned briefly there that, and I've told this story before for people who've watched many of these. These were red. Obviously, right? These were bright red. They had been done 2 passes, because as I always say, even normal color tattoos could benefit from a second pass. And this is not a do as I say, not as I do. I do. I did that with my first bodysuit. That's why my first bodysuit was so fucking bold. I had people all the time who were like, Jesus Christ, man, like, is that... And then they would see me and they're like, holy fuck, I've never seen red so bright. And it was because I did the work. It's partly my skin tone. There is always that, but that's an excuse a lot of the time for very lazy people to use that don't want to touch their shit up or do the work required to make it look good. My first assumption when someone credits my skin tone or something is that they're lazy and they're not willing to put in the time. There are rare exceptions to that rule, obviously. Darker, very dark skin tones, it is harder to get color to show very vibrantly, but it is actually doable. I've seen some artists that specialize in brighter colors over dark skin, but again, that's going to be a process of layering anyway. As I say all the time, I don't think it's possible to fully saturate the skin in one single pass, so if you're interested in having bright colored tattoos, be interested in doing several passes. Just as a baseline. This doesn't just apply to color on black or blackout. It applies to anything color saturation related. It just is. The only thing you can get away with, in my opinion, and have the best version of it the first time is black and gray. That's it. So if you want to go in for a single pass, once and done, and it's as good as it can be, generally speaking, you're going to be safe with black and gray, but with no other tattoo, no other like color tattoo or heavy black work or anything like that. Those can always be made better. That's inarguable. So with that said, these were bright red. These were bats at one point. Both of these leaves, they were bats, believe it or not. I'll see if I can find a picture of that, throw it in here. And these were stars. And also, while we're here, dagger and upside down rose here. So everything on me is, on my face has got, I would say upward between 5 and 10 layers. I know this was, I figured out the 7th time we've done these. I think this is the 5th or 6th time this has been done. Even this has been done 4 times now. It's got to go again. I was thinking about doing it yesterday, but we'll do it when we do the back of the rose, the back of the head rose. We didn't get to that one, so we'll probably throw those two in together. Session a few weeks from now. So these were done as stars twice. Then I had dermals in them, and dermals made a hell of a mess. They kind of took a chunk of the ink in the center out, and so then they had to be touched up again. So they were done 3 times as stars, and then they were turned into roses, silhouette roses. Lee actually came up with the idea to do that, my old tattooer, back in 2019. And then Terry and I did 3 passes of white and black on black. The third pass was just a highlight. So what are we at? 7. And now we've done, the 7, yeah. We've done 7 or 8 passes on these fucking things anyway. So, and there still isn't significant scar tissue in there. And I have a good deal of certainty that if I wanted to, if I was patient enough, I could make these things yellow and brown. And you'd be a fool to take that bet. This has become my new thing. It's like this idea that there's some limit to this it's completely, like, it's not supported by anything. And if I've proved anything, it's that. I mean, just the fact that these things are still going this bright with this many iterations. You know, you take this and you take it from bright red to kind of a darker black and gray with like kind of a pink base. Then we get it all the way to where it looks almost completely black and gray through the use of opaques. Then you come in and you put colors over it and they glow like this. I gotta tell you guys, if you're expecting these things to fall out when they heal, you're crazy. And you know, with how these were holding up over time as they were, neither the roses on my face nor the roses on my head had been done in years, and they were looking the same as they did a week later. You're not, what's the phrase? A fool and his money are soon parted. So the only way that these are going to change is if I change them, and I've proven this a million times. Now with these neck roses being nearly a year since I've touched them, and they look great. They look the way they did after we finished doing them. It is a lot of work to get there, and I would never deny that, but there's no possible argument against it working. And any argument that's made it's always just laziness or just pure denial, and I'm not really willing to accept any other part of this. So while I've still got it in my mind, I have shaved my shin on my left leg. I'm going to still be working on the same leg today. For people who are like, what's going on with your legs, Remy? I mean, I don't know. How many sessions have you had on your legs in the last month and a half? Because I've had 3, and I'm about to have 4. So it's not like I'm not doing it. I get a lot of people that are like, what do your legs look like? It's like, I don't know. I've posted them 6 million fucking times. And I've just recently been talking about them and showing them off. So you can't ever force people to see it. But yes, there's more work coming to my legs, and soon it's going to be fairly rapid. But I've got another big piece coming up today. Theoretically, when it comes to tattoos, I never 100% know what's going to happen until I'm sitting down. It has become a truism for me to assume that it might not happen until the moment it's happening. And that's just a good way to think about tattoos in general. I think it's probably some scar tissue from being around this for so long and understanding that artists are very emotional people, and life can change in a second. So until you're in the experience, assume the experience has a chance of not happening. Also, likewise, as I've said before, the moment the experience begins, you're basically through it already. For the people who still can't understand how I can get through all of these sessions, be dealing with pain all the time. It's like the moment it starts, it ends in my mind, and I don't put too much thought into it past that. So anyway, I'll be talking to you guys here again tomorrow when I've got another tattoo to show off, and these will be a little less shiny then because there's still a little bit of plasma, I think, in places. All right, I'll talk to you guys again soon. Have a great day.